Okay, and good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome to a special episode of Wisdom Transmissions Live, where I'm going to be doing empathic interfacing with Athena. I think it's been about 4 or 5 years since I had done this. It was something that came to me back in 2017 when I was I was living in a townhouse in Victoria on Vancouver Island at that time, and I had a framed pyramid in my front room, and I would meditate there. And all of a sudden, I would get this vision of a civilization that was an inner Earth civilization. And there was a man that basically came into my awareness, and I could see him just with crystal clear clarity. He was completely albino, right? He had very pale skin, kind of like whitish hair, pale red eyes as well. And this is like nobody I've ever seen before. And I started to interface with him a lot, and he referred to himself as Nefertitus. And so he was not really thrilled about trying to connect with me. He was not really thrilled about kind of answering my questions about his civilization and all that. He kind of felt very rigid, right? And so I talked to him for a little bit, but he just basically said, I can't do this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore, right? I don't want to be this kind of contact. I think he may have had a prejudice against the human race in that way. So he offered his sister to basically be my contact instead. And like I said, this is back in 2017. And then she came in, this younger sister, and her name is Athena, right? And she is the complete opposite. She's very sweet. She's very excited. She's very knowledgeable. She's very open. I wouldn't say she's at the caliber of Adronis, but she's quite knowledgeable with a lot of things that are happening. And I feel like she's a type of mediator as well too. So since 2017, I've been interfacing with this particular civilization. It's a human civilization that resides within Delphi or Delphi, whichever you want to call it. I often refer to it as Delphi, Greece, but basically living underneath Delphi or Delphi, Greece. And that they had played a very big part in humanity's role. I think they had some type of association with the Oracle of Delphi as well too back in the ancient times. Um, I think that they were just basically being mediators for that type of information at the same time. But they live underneath Greece, so it's a very, very amazing encounter that I've had with them. Back then, I was just asking for like a new type of contact. Because I had Adronis, I had Rayar, and so forth. I wanted to see if there was some type of inner Earth contact that wanted to come through. And that's when I was meditating in the pyramid, and all of a sudden that's when Nefertitus came in. And he was not, I could never see the guy smile. He was like this. You know, he just wasn't happy. He was not happy to talk to me. He was not happy to interact with humans. And this is something that I think that is quite common in some of the underground inner Earth civilizations. Is there are civilizations who are very happy to talk to humanity, like Athena is, and then there's ones that want nothing to do with us at all, right? They don't like us. They really don't like that humanity is living upon the surface of the earth and they're living underground, right? A lot of them do want to come up to the surface, and at certain times they're able to. There's just some of them that just don't like us, right? And there's some of them that do love us. So it's a very mixed bag. And even through a lot of the interfaces that I've had in the past with Athena, she basically says that most of her people of the Delphi are happy to talk to humanity, right? And there are some who are very much kind of caught up in the old ways, old traditions, and they don't talk to quote unquote the surface dwellers, right? They don't want to have anything to do with them. They think that we're children. They think that we're very immature, that we're very rigid, that we're fighting each other and battling each other. And they said it's not our time to really talk to them. They're not mature yet, right? They're still fighting each other. They're still waging wars. They're causing their people to be hungry. They don't know how to take care of themselves. We don't want anything to do with them, right? And that's just how some of them feel. And then there's others saying, well, because they're that way, that's all the more reason to talk to them. Because they're that way, that's the whole idea of communicating and opening up to them, helping them to see another perspective to what we have, right? And I was able to see very briefly their underground inner Earth civilizations space, and it is highly advanced. It's very advanced. So if you go inside there, I had to do it, of course, astrally. Like when I talk to Athena, I'm basically talking to her astral body. I'm not talking to her physically, of course. If I was talking to her physically, I'd get her on the phone, I'd get her on a Skype call, and then we could talk to her that way. I interface with her astrally, directly in the astral plane. That's how she connects. So I was even connecting with her just beforehand today. She's ready to go, right? Her astral body is basically just sitting there. And it's kind of just like old times. But basically, their realm, I guess you could say their space, is so beautiful. It's like being on the surface of the earth, but it's kind of like looking at just like this open meadow. It's like you're in Sweden, right? I still remember that dream very vividly because I had a very strong intention to connect with the Delphi underground, and I was in some type of like dome. So I don't know what you call those things, kind of like a dome gazebo or something of that nature. It kind of looks like ancient Greece in many different ways, but you have all this farmland, you have all this meadow. It's beautiful. They have a sun underground. It's quite amazing. So they never explained to me how that is. I think they're trying to still keep a lot of their stuff hush hush and secret. So Athena is not like Adronis, right? It's not like Adronis comes in and shares all this incredible knowledge. There's certain things that she can answer, and there's certain things that she can't, right? So it's a very different experience from Adronis. And I'm not channeling her in that way. It is basically just an empathic interfacing. So like I said, I think the last time I talked to her was around 2020, 2021, right? It was just around the time when I was starting to wrap up things with Adronis for a couple of years. And that's when, I think that's when I last talked to Athena. But it has been quite some time. And so I'm eager to see exactly how they're doing, how their civilization is going, how they're looking at humanity right now. Maybe they can comment on a lot of the stuff that we're going through and see exactly what her take is, and maybe speaking for her civilization as well too. Now, of course, I do have a image here of a conception of Athena, and that's how you can connect with her. Okay, so you're basically just saying her name. You can use this photo. Okay, it's AI generated, but I had another old photo back in the day. This one, of course, is a little bit more detailed. But it's more of an exact representation of what she looks like. Right? She has that kind of very white blondish hair. Her complexion is very pale, right? Her people are albino, and they have kind of like pale red eyes. So it's kind of like looking at like an albino mouse, right? Where they have the red eyes and the pale white skin. So again, her people are very much like that. They're all pale, and they have that kind of whitish blonde hair and kind of pale red eyes. They have kind of like a purity, genetic purity in that way. They will not breed with other outsiders, so to speak. So they're very much contained in regards to keeping a lot of their genetics intact. Because if I'm looking around at her civilization, everybody's albino, right? There's no differentiations of different races or anything of that nature mixed into their culture. And I feel that that's the idea of their intention of genetic purity. They always basically just mate relating to fellow Delphi or fellow Delphi. Okay? So again, I feel like her civilization basically complements the ancient ways, right? They're very, very ancient. They're very, I'd say the best way is that they're very ritualistic in certain ways as well too. Because if they even tried to bring an outsider in, there's so many types of rites and purity rituals that they would have to do for that person to even step inside their civilization. They were very reserved. And just me saying, can I come and see your inner space? I don't know about that, right? That's exactly how they were, right? It's a very different type of contact. With Adronis says, yeah, of course you can do this. Of course you can do this. Like Adronis is just so open, right? When Rayar is so open. With them, okay, I guess so. Like they were really reserved, and like me even going into the astral plane, I even got intercepted by a witch when I was going into their astral plane, going back in 2017. It was kind of like a nightmare-like situation because I could actually see myself leaving my body. I could see myself descending into the earth, but it's like I got met halfway with this type of witch-like being. and she just had like these bulging eyes and all that stuff. And the next morning when I woke up, I could feel like there was some buzzing in my crown. I was going to the store, and I had this crow just coming by and just kind of gliding against my crown like this. Like I've never seen a crow do that before. He wasn't cawing at me or anything like that. He was very calm, but he was just gently brushing the top of my head. I had a cap on, and he was just gently brushing. He would skim. He did about 3 times. I said, never seen a crow do that. And he was basically trying to close my crown, right? Because my crown was basically being compromised by this kind of witch-like energy. And so I went home. I started cleaning myself with that, and then it was gone after that. But unfortunately, my friends, so many people talk about the inner earth beings. Not a lot of them are friendly. Okay, there are ones that are very hostile, very regressive against humanity, right? Some of them would basically rather us be dead than alive. And then there are those who are very much happy to have us. Okay, so it is very much like a duality in the inner earth. And this is what I've discovered just going back to 2017. So looking at this whole situation now for the past 7 years or so, that's how it is, right? So again, the Delphi are some of the good ones. Athena is just so sweet. She kind of reminds me of Rayar a little bit. She doesn't sing, but she kind of reminds me of the kind of a Rayar energy. So anyways, everybody, so we're gonna get started with that here very shortly. We're gonna start off with just some announcements first, and then I'll be going through the empathic interfacing, and I'm going to teach all of you who want to join in to connect with Athena how to do that. Okay, because this is what I did in the old days as well too. Is when I did the empathic interfacing live with Athena, I would teach everybody how to connect with her through themselves as well, and we're going to do the same thing. So I felt like I was a little bit rusty at first, but everything's coming back. I have not reviewed old episodes of it or anything of that nature. It's just all kind of coming back to me. So we're going to get into that in here in just a few minutes. We're going to just start off with some announcements first, and then we'll get things rolling.
Private one-to-one sessions have returned with Brad Johnson and Adronis, with appointment times from 30, 45, and 60 minutes online. Offline sessions including the 3 questions by email and distance healing are now available. Book your session now through our website, wisdomtransmissions.com.
Get readings with Brianne and be astonished at the depth and accuracy she provides for you through her tarot readings. Brianne can create crystal grids for distance healing, plus offer Reiki and Kundalini attunements. She is also a certified Flying Star Feng Shui consultant. Visit Brianne's website and book your session today at readingswithbrianne.com.
And speaking of Brianne is going to be with me next week. So we're going to have both of us on Wisdom Transmissions Live, and we'll be taking personal readings next week, next Wednesday. So I'm looking forward to that. And again, Brianne does have some offers on her website as well too pertaining to her readings. So feel free to check that out at readingswithbrianne.com.
Source Energy enhanced products to repair and rejuvenate the body. From the power of light to crystals to bed kits, card decks, and more. View our free samples, tutorials, and testimonials on our website, etherx.co.
And of course, I forgot to say Happy New Year to everybody. Happy 2025. Hope you're all again doing well this morning. With etherx.co, we have quite a few discounts that are taking place right now. But there's an update with Etherx that I'm going to be sharing as well too. It's one of the things I forgot this morning. I'm going to be transitioning Etherx from the Shopify network that we're on right now, and it's going to be going back to Amazon. Okay, so I'm going to be going through a transitional period right now between January, February, and March. I've basically taken quite a lot of our products and bringing it onto Amazon. And I'm going to see if I can get not only connections with Canada, but the United States, UK, and then, of course, Australia as well, too. Those will be kind of like the 4 points that we're going to be going into as we transition Etherx back to Amazon. I think Amazon is just a better idea because of shipping. Our shipping costs, of course, unfortunately, with a lot of companies, and companies are starting to raise their prices. And I'm doing what I can to try and make it as affordable as possible, but it's still very, very difficult. So right now, between January and March, I will be transitioning Etherex back into a Wix website, and it's going to be moving a lot of its stuff over to Amazon instead of the Shopify network. Shopify network is good, but it's extremely pricey. And so this is exactly why I'm migrating it into Amazon for a little bit more cost effectiveness, and of course a little bit more easement pertaining to shipping as well too. So that's going to be happening. The transitional cycle is starting this week, and moving some stuff there as well too. And of course, so a lot of our products are going to be on Amazon. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started today with, once again, Empathic Interfacing Live. So I'm going to give you guys the instructions first if you want to also connect with Athena, okay? So, like I said, you see her image here, and all you're doing is you're doing kind of like a 3-tier connection, okay? This is exactly what I did with Adronis in the very beginning when I was learning to connect with him, and he has always urged it as well too, is that you are giving a 3-tier connection. You're feeling their connection on a physical level, and then you're feeling their connection on a much more higher mental level. And then you're feeling their connection on kind of like an all self level, a wholeness level. Okay. So I'll be taking you through how we connect with them through the 3-tier connection state. Okay. So what you're doing is you're kind of testing them in the same way, is that you're asking a question. You're basically stating yourself, okay, I'm getting myself relaxed. I'm getting myself comfortable. I feel this love within myself. Athena, do you reciprocate this love? And then she will answer, right? And then we start moving up into the higher connection. So we do a little bit of breath work. Okay, I'm feeling myself in greater states of spaciousness. I'm feeling the connection to my subtle bodies. Connection, love, harmony. Athena, do you reciprocate this feeling? Yes. And we move up into the 3rd stage where we're basically seeing ourselves beyond the body. We're seeing the eternalness, the essence of our being, where we are interconnected, where we are one, where there is no duality. Athena, do you reciprocate this feeling? Okay. So that's really what it comes down to. Like, I'll be doing it with you guys. So that's really where we want to go. And we're doing some breath work with this. Okay. We're going to do some heart rate variability together with this. And we're just moving up those 3 tiers. And then when you're going through those 3 tiers, and when you feel Athena answering your question, it's not so much of like trying to hear a voice. It's much more on the idea that you're feeling an impulse, because that's how she communicates with me. It sounds like a voice, but it's not a voice, right? It's like a voiceless voice in the best way I can put it. But you have an impulse, you have a feeling that comes in as you're connecting with her right now. So as you look at her photo right now, like I said, this is just a rendition of her, but again, it's acceptable because Athena knows that we're utilizing this particular type of rendition of her, right? And you're connecting with her, right? So you're connecting with her in this way. And it's kind of like you're working to breathe the same as if you're feeling how she breathes, okay? It's very, very calm. It's very relaxed. It's very tranquil, okay? So you're just working to connect with Athena, and I'll be helping you to do that. I'm going to keep this image on for now, just so you can utilize that as a template. And we're going to connect together with her. Okay, so first thing, make sure your feet are firmly placed on the ground. Keep your spine nice and straight. Okay, tuck in the abdominal muscles a little bit. Okay, this is what we call the navel lock. This is where we're, again, keeping the abdomen just engaged. We're not sucking in the belly altogether. This is helping to maintain and keep the prana together in the chest area. Okay, so as we do that, I want you just to take some deep cleansing breaths. We're going to do some deep cleansing breaths first, and then we're going to get into HRV, okay? So just breathe in fully. And then out through the nose, breathe out fully. Second time, inhale. And exhale. Third time, inhale. And exhale fully. Okay, and just looking at Athena's photo now, as we now start performing heart rate variability. We're going to do 10 rounds of HRV, okay? I'll be guiding you here, so breathing in, 1, 2, 3, 4, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and in, 2, 3, 4, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and in, 2, 3, 4, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and in, 2, 3, 4, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and in, 2, 3, 4, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and in, 2, 3, 4, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and in, 2, 3, 4, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and in, 2, 3, 4, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and in, 2, 3, 4, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Last time, and in, 2, 3, 4, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and relax. And now that we have done our breath work, we're now just going to connect with Athena. So again, just if your eyes are open, just taking a look at Athena right now, and just imagining that even though that this is a rendition, imagine that you're looking at her, because she looks very similar to the image here on the screen. Okay, almost identical, I would say. It's very, very close, right? I think her scale is maybe a little bit more of a creamy white, but it's pretty close. Okay, she's very, very beautiful. She's a sweet lady. Okay, so right now, I want us now to go to the first tier, the first level. Okay, I want you just to put either your right hand or your left hand, either one, just on the heart, and I want you just to think of a very, very loving moment. Okay, a moment of pure love, a moment of pure joy, something that brings about a lot of happiness through what you can recall. Okay, and I want you just to saturate yourself with that love. I want you to saturate yourself with that joy. Feel it coming into every cell of your body and just saturating yourself with that. Okay, and you're still aware of Athena while you're feeling that saturation of love. Okay, and we're going to ask together, you can repeat after me. Athena, I am in my love. I am in my joy. And I feel pure happiness. Do you reciprocate this feeling? Okay, and I can feel her saying yes. So very good. We're going to move on to level 2. Okay, level 2, it's like you're feeling you're moving yourself into your higher body, like the higher self. Okay, and so you're feeling that kind of, you could say almost like an angelic love, a love that again goes beyond the physical, but it still represents the subtle body. It still represents the subtle nature of yourself, right? Like looking at a dream body, like looking again at the higher self, just seeing yourself as the architect of this life, like that higher angelic consciousness. Okay, just seeing it in that form of example. And you're just looking at yourself like you would see this kind of higher angel, right? Just with this kind of majestic, loving, compassionate joy, right? On a very deep, non-linear level. So you're just moving yourself up into those subtle states, that subtle state of being. It's like when you're going into the theta, you're going into the delta, right? In between that, and you're just feeling yourself much more beyond the physical. You're seeing more of your soul, so to speak, okay? I want you just to feel that love from the soul, that love from the higher self, that love from a higher angelic kind of quality. Okay, and just feel yourself basking in that essence, basking in that nature. There is a higher love. There is a higher connection of harmony. Okay, and we're going to be asking Athena now. Athena, I am basked in the love of my higher self. I am basked in the joy of my higher divine nature. Athena, do you reciprocate this feeling? Okay, and I can feel her saying yes as well. Very good. Okay, let's move on to level 3. Okay, level 3 is when we're going beyond all bodies. We're moving right into the stillness. We're moving right into the oneness. Okay, You're moving right into your center, which means there's no duality. There's nothing in regards to anything pertaining to polarity. You're going beyond the mind, and you're just feeling yourself in the center of it all. Okay? Just feeling yourself in the center. Every burden, every problem has been relinquished from you. And you are simply floating in the stillness of the center. Just being still in the center of being. And we will say that to Athena now. Athena, I am stilled in the center of being. I am stilled in the center of complete harmony. Do you reciprocate this feeling, Athena? Yes, and I can kind of hear her whisper, yes, a very soft kind of voice. Again, it's kind of like a voiceless voice, all right? And if you felt that response as well too, congratulations, you are also connected to Athena, right? Which means you don't have to rely on my questions. Maybe you have some questions to ask her as well too, because you're tuning into her astral body at the same time that I am, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and close off this image now. And hopefully there are those of you who are connected with Athena, like I am, okay? And it's really just me being able to go within and just talk to her and see what she can share and doing my best to try and interpret it. It's not a channeling state, okay? This is empathic interfacing. This is like telepathy, okay? So I'm not going inside myself to bring out Adronis and have him come through. That's a very, very different type of state. But it's this is empathic interfacing, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and connect with Athena now. And we're just going to ask some questions just to start off. So I will feel the connection with Athena here in the Delphi. It's kind of like I'm seeing kind of like a white background with her. And I'm just kind of seeing her sitting in this white background. It's kind of like that scene from the Matrix, right? Where you're seeing the construct, right? So it's kind of like that as well too. There's also kind of feeling like I was previously seeing her like in some sort of cave. And now I'm kind of seeing it like in the construct, in the white background now, okay? So I'm just giving my love and my thanks to Athena. Thank you so much. I know it has been a long time since we've both interfaced. She's just looking at me and smiling. She's so sweet. So I just wanted to ask Athena how she is, how everything is going with her people. She says everything is going very, very well. There is so much growth. There is so much change happening within the community throughout many different civilizations that are here internally of the earth. There's a lot more cooperation than when we've last spoken. And we realize that there's been some time since we've spoken. She also says that she has a son. Okay, so she does have a child as well too. She never told me about this before, but she does have a younger son. I'm not too sure what the age would be. So basically would be close to maybe about late teens, early 20s. Okay, so she does have a partner, and she does have a younger son as well too. Do we have a name for the son that you could refer to? If you could share a name with the son? Okay. It kind of sounds like Yekon, Y-E-K-O-N, Yekon, or something of that nature. Okay. I'm not always the best with names when it comes to this, but this is kind of the name I'm getting, like Yekon in that way. And it's kind of like looking at like a golden blade of grass, right? It's basically like a name of fertility in that way. So very, very interesting. Okay, great. Wonderful. Well, send him our love. Thank you so much for sharing that. I did not know that you had a child. Very good. So again, as you were saying, that there's a lot of changes within the inner earth community. Okay, so she's saying, yes, there are a lot more partnerships as well too. We do have other civilizations that are working together for a common cause because of where humanity is at. Okay, and that's what I wanted to get into as well too, is because we'll come back into more of the community as well too. You can see exactly what humanity is going through. Of course, when we last talked, it was really kind of going into the middle of COVID-19 in regards to our quarantine and lockdown. And she's smiling and said, that's a wonderful thing. That was a very wonderful thing what happened to you, because it enabled the great growth. It enabled the great awakening to which you're a part of right now. That was a great thing that was happening. It was a catapulting into your awakening. So it was very, very good that you have moved into that particular type of event And where you are right now, we are seeing tremendous change. And we want you to know that our love is with you. We're supporting all of you every step of the way. We are seeing how humanity is changing, and it's a wonderful thing to see. And of course, we've talked a lot about our governments, and we've talked a lot about, these political leaders and world leaders of ours. And it feels like they're scattering like rats. She's kind of nodding here and said, yes, they're leaving. They're going to be leaving here very shortly. They're not going to be a part of the same world that you will be a part of. They have decided to live in an older world. They will leave this planet and they will go to other worlds. They're going to go to other worlds that best suit their character, from what she's saying. It's like she's pointing. And so they're going to go to other worlds. They're being pushed out of here. And so everything in regards to that type of event-based gravity is pushing them off the planet. They're not going to be here. Those who want to be like them are also going to be pushed off the planet. People who are greedy, people who do not want to help each other, people who only want to harm, to maim, to cause suffering, they are not going to be here. They are being pushed off the planet, right? So it's like that gravitation is pushing them off. It's a natural event. It's a natural thing. It's not something being controlled by a being. It's nature, like a wind, pushing them off the planet. So that is exactly what you're going to be seeing here. They're going to be pushed off the planet. They're not going to be here anymore. Okay. So it's almost like a shift that we're seeing, where we can see our civilization of those who remain here, who again follow more of a hard path, and those who are kind of more on that bitter, greedy type path are actually being pushed off the planet. Yes, they're actually going to be shifted off the planet. They're not going to be here. Okay. So it's not like we have to wait for them to basically pass through the natural means of no. They're going to be shifted off the planet. They will vanish. They will go. They will be gone, right? So this is something very, very interesting. When we look at the corrupt, we're not just saying, oh, they have to kind of go through their natural course of life. No, like they are being pulled off the planet. They are shifting. They will vanish from the earth. They will be gone, right? You won't know what happened to them. They're completely being taken out of here. Wow. So that's exactly what her and her community has been talking about, exactly of the events of what's taking place on the earth right now. So this is where humanity, and she's quoting me the Bible verse, right? The meek will inherit the earth. The meek will inherit the earth. This is exactly what's happening. Is the meek are going to inherit the earth. You are not going to be seeing these beings for much longer. They are going to vanish. They are going to leave. They are going to be ejected off of the earth. They're going to be pulled out of here. There's going to be a lot of extra phenomenal events taking place upon your planet that many of your scientists will not be able to explain. They are going to be leaving. It's like looking at a fold of the earth opening up and encapsulating all those particular beings. Those beings that do not meet the necessity of where the earth is going will not be here. They will be taken out of here. They will go into another earth. They will go into another world. That's their destiny. Where you are going, where people do want to be loving, harmonious, where their heart's centered, where they want to help out, that is the new earth that we're talking about. Many of your people have talked about this new earth for a very long time, and that's exactly what's happening. It's a fold. And of course, I'm asking her about 2038. She's like, yes, 2038. Yes. She's getting yes. Yeah. So around that time, that's the singularity. That's the singularity collapsing. She said, yes, like, Brad, you got it. That's it. This is just what she's saying. She's like, smile and say, yes, you got it. That's exactly what's happening. It's singularity collapsing on itself, and then you're coming out the other side, and the corrupt will not be here. The earth is folding herself. And I've also said that this is a universe, which is yes. Every single planet in the cosmos is being affected by this. Every single galaxy in the universe is being affected. It's a folding over. It's the opening up of a new universe. We're seeing the old universe collapse. We're seeing a new universe coming together, and everything is going to change. And the corrupt will not be there. They will be somewhere else. Okay, so this is great. I'm getting that kind of nice confirmation from Athena as well too. So let's go back in regards to what you were saying about the community. So you're basically talking about other civilizations within the community. Yes, some of them do not want to be divulged right now, but there are other human civilizations here internally that are working together with us. Now, as we've talked about before, we were saying that there was a type of land that was being prepared for humanity, that in the future that some human beings will be chosen to basically come into the inner earth, and they'll have an opportunity to live there. She's like, yes, this will still happen, but not until after the shift, not until after the shift takes place. So basically we could say post 2038. Yes, around there. She says that's what's being in preparation right now because we need a lot of support. What we can say is we have about a council of 12 in that way. So it might be around 12 or 13. And these are the kind of the consortium that's coming together that is enabling land to be shared with humanity as well, too, internally. So there's going to be talks in the future of civilizations that will be coming forward that will speak to not so much leaders, but people who are naturally appointed to us. It's not about going through your governments. We don't want to talk to them. Okay. It's not about going through your world leaders. We do not want to talk to them. We're talking to you. We're talking to those of you who are appointed to us. Think of this as grassroots, right? She's showing me grass, like grass growing. So feel it in that way. We're not interested in talking to your governments because we don't have governments, right? And we do not believe in your governments. They are not helping humanity. They don't know their place yet. Humanity is the one in charge. Governments are meant to serve humanity. They have not realized that yet. But the beginning times of that is unfolding, where government will then know its place. It is not supposed to run humanity. That is wrong. That is a symbol for chaos. That is complete and total violence. That is not how it is supposed to work. If there are governments, governments need to serve humankind, not the other way around. Do not let any government feel like they are in charge of you. That is wrong. And that can never lead to anything good. You have to get rid of that. And she's basically being very emphatic. You have to get rid of that. We've seen civilizations like that have this government that's appointing everything. Don't let a government get there. Don't. Clear it away. Cut it away. Don't participate with it. The government has to serve the people. It is never the people that serves the government. That is a dictatorship. Don't do it, right? So I think we're pretty much aware of that message now for sure, right? So again, yes, it's very, very important that when you notice that the governments are coming back to serve humankind, they know their place, then you're moving in the right direction because eventually that government is going to turn into something else. It's going to turn into much more of a people organization. An organization run by people. It is not going to be appointed by politicians. Politicians are unnecessary. You don't need them. The only reason you have politicians in their original need was to be public servants. If they are not being public servants, they are corrupt. Get rid of them. You don't need them, right? So she's very emphatic with that as well, too. Is basically just saying, get rid of the politicians. You don't need them. If they're not being public servants, you fire them, you relinquish them, you make sure they do not have any particular type of, as you would say, employment. They are not serving you, do not have them. And come together en masse and make that clear. You do not want any politicians in government that are basically trying to feel like they are in charge of you. They're not in charge of you. Get rid of them. Right. So that's what she's saying very emphatically. Because where the Delphi are, there is no government. So no, there's no government. Everything is run by the people here. This is how it has been for millions of years. Right. So the Delphi, I'm not sure if I refer to it as a Delphi or the Delphi. She says it's okay. You can call us whatever you want. It's fine. But basically, for millions of years, you have been on this earth about 2.5 million years. Yes. So we are an ancient civilization. So she's been around the block for quite a while, her civilization, I would say. And that I feel that you're actually like within over 100 years. Oh, she's being a little bit delicate about her age, but she says you're kind of on the right track with that. Yes. We have a much more longer lifespan than humans on the surface. Okay. And she says that's as far as we're going to go for that. Okay. So I would just ask, how's Nefertitis? How's your older brother? He's busy with many other delegations. So he, as you know, he's not really too big on these types of conversations with humans. So, and I was talking to the audience about that earlier in regards to how Nefertitis was. He said, yeah, don't take it personally. Just he hasn't really been behind this whole idea, but he's starting to change. He's starting to shape up. He wants to work a lot more with other civilizations. And basically, there's a lot of trade that's happening in between other civilizations with ours. We trade things. We work together with each other. And he's basically following more of a delegation on that behalf. Okay, well, tell him I said hi. Yeah, so she's just smiling and nodding. Okay, very good. Good. All right. So again, as you talked about, that you have many of these different inner Earth civilizations that are coming about. And you said you have about a dozen or so of them that are now working together with you, and you're reserving a particular type of land, a plot of land for humanity. So how would that work out? Is it just if let's say, for example, that it goes to post 2038 and that you are ready to move forward and invite people, how would that work? We will come to you in person. Oh. So that's exactly what she's saying. You are going to get a visit from us, right? If you are indeed appointed, if you're appointed together with us, you will get a visit. Okay, we will be visiting you, and you will have an invitation from us. And it won't seem so far-fetched by how we present ourselves with you. So is it the Delphi that are going to present you? It will be representatives. There's a council that's being formed here. You could call it very loosely an inner Earth council. And there will be those on your planet who will be personally contacted in person and helped to actually go there and see this. Oh, wow. So we do not have a date for this yet, but we can say it's post 2038, yes. But there's no exact date because we're still working on all the details. Yes. But what would that look like? Let's say we have quite a few human beings that are coming into the inner Earth and they're coming into this new plot of land. What will they be doing there? They will build homes. They will learn to build from us. And they will be delegates in between the inner Earth civilization and the surface civilization. They will take ideas back from us because we're going to teach them how to build. We're going to actually share technology with many of you, and you'll be able to take it back to the surface and actually help people. And so this is going to come together through a mutual reservation of sharing. You can share your ideas with us, and we will share our ideas with you, and it will become mutually beneficial. Right? So that's kind of what I'm getting here pertaining to her, because she was talking about this years ago, about reserving land in the inner Earth for certain human beings that will be chosen, so to speak, going into the inner Earth. Now, are they basically going to be going into like through caves, or will they be coming in through certain types of vessels in that sense? Some of it will actually be through caves. Some of it can also be through other means. There may be also conveyances that may take them into the inner Earth, into these areas altogether. Now, this other area that's being set aside, is it close to where you are? She says part of our land would be part of it, yes. So it would be somewhere maybe around the area of Greece. She said, but there's also other plots of lands that are being considered by other different civilizations. So it depends where you live on the planet at that time, okay? So very interesting. So we're just having this wild conversation. It's wonderful. It's great. I appreciate that. So like you said, you don't want to name names pertaining to these other civilizations. Are they all human-based? Are they all human? Many of them are human. We really would not have, at this state, any particular beings that would appear non-human, as not to frighten you. All right. So we're not looking at reptilians. We're not looking at insectoids. No, no, no. We're looking at a human community here. It is very much a human community that is going to be coming together. So that will come in time, but you have to be acclimatized to many of these other races that reside within your Earth, whether it's the reptilians, whether it's insectoids, whether it's Sasquatch, whether it's any other particular type of beings that may not be fully human that you would recognize, because we do not want to intimidate you. We do not want to harm you into feeling that you're looking at these creatures that you're not quite used to yet. That will come with time. That will be a later integration. It's a later phase, okay? So you'll be looking at ant people. You'll be looking at locust people or mantis people. You'll be looking at reptilians, lizard men in that way, lizard women, right? You'll be looking at Sasquatch, right? These are, again, different types of civilizations that are underneath the earth. There's also beings that, again, look like the Greys, but they're not the Greys, but they look very much like them as well, too. So there's different types of civilizations. There's also aquatics as well too. We could also refer to them as the merfolk, right? But that's a different kind of different kind of situation that's unfolding. But some of these races, again, as you said, they're mainly human. Yes, there are others that are non-human, but again, they will come at a later time. Okay, great. Very good. Well, thank you, Athena, again, for all this updates. There's a lot of information to process here. So if you don't mind, Athena, I think we're going to go ahead and go into some questions here from the audience. And if we do have any donation-based questions, Adronis is not going to be on today, everybody. Okay, so if you are asking questions with Adronis, he will not be here. Okay, this is really just between me and Athena today. So your questions really need to be based upon Athena or myself. Okay, so I will not be taking any questions for Adronis. He has the day off today. Okay, so Sharon, again, I see that you had your question, but like I said, Adronis will not be here today. Okay. Okay, so let me just go down the list here and see. Yeah, Alex says underground people have more advanced technology than the above living people. That's so funny. Well, the reason being is because they are an older civilization. In fact, if you're looking at many of the civilizations that are underground, they are millions of years old. Right? A lot of them are basically the original inhabitants of the earth. They have volunteered to give the land of the surface to human beings, right? While they remain within the inner earth. And Athena is like, yes, this has been something that's been agreed to. It's a divine agreement. Okay, it's not written on paper. It's much more, it's like a soul agreement, right? This is something that basically has happened, is that humanity requires the surface of the earth, and all other civilizations need to migrate inside the earth. But again, speaking from personal experience, with me going to the Delphi, I can tell you it looks exactly like the surface of the earth when you're in there with many different civilizations. And she said, well, it varies from person to person. We are able to have that because of our technology. Certain civilizations decide to live in caves. They decide to live in vaults. So they will not have that type of technology. But because of our technology going back millions of years, we're able to duplicate a lot of the effects of the land that we live that is very similar to how you would live on the surface. So you wouldn't really be able to tell the difference. If you're going into the Delphi underground, you would not be able to tell the difference as if you were on the surface of the earth or if you were underground. I could not tell the difference when I was there. And I was only there for maybe a couple of minutes. It wasn't that long. It's like I had a blindfold on and I just like took it off and then I just kind of took a clean sweep around. It is gorgeous. It is a gorgeous land. And like I said, it's kind of like looking at Sweden. It reminded me of Sweden big time. I'd never been to Sweden, but of course, seeing videos, seeing pictures of it, it looked a lot like Sweden. So yes, it's a beautiful thing. So yes, they have way more advanced technology. There's a lot more holography. Am I correct, Athena, about that? There's a lot more holography. There's holography, but we also work with the power of our thoughts. We also work with the power of our minds, right? A lot of it is manifestation, the ability to manifest, right? We have trained ourselves to basically manifest the type of world that we want to live in, both individually and collectively. So it's a combination of holography and manifestation capability. So wonderful. Thank you, Alex. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so just a lot of people saying hello, Athena, welcome. Okay, great. Let's see. Okay, here's one from Chiron again. So this isn't for Adronis, but we'll take it anyways. Despite knowing the dark has to exist for the light to exist, and that the divine original soul split itself up in order to not just know, but to experience itself through darkness, it's still very, okay, I think your question got cut off. It's still very difficult for me to reconcile with how the innocents got tortured and harmed by the dark forces, especially when it came to extreme cases of animal abuse. Okay, so if I'm tuning into Athena with that, she's basically saying, my dear, we have seen your civilizations going through horrible experiences, generation after generation, age after age. And do you know what? We can see that your current generation right now is the least violent of those previous ages. This is exactly what she's saying. My dear, my civilization has been on this planet for 2.5 million years, approximately. And the feeling is that we have seen your kind turn from heartless barbarians to actually having some type of civilization. And your civilization today is the least violent of those other civilizations. Okay. Yes, they still haven't learned their lesson, right, pertaining to, fornication and to slaughtering of animals and to how you have treated your children, all that. But altogether, you are the least violent modern civilization compared to your ancestors. Your ancestors were highly barbaric. People were dying all the time. People were being slaughtered. People were being killed. You were being exposed to it all the time. You basically had to have weapons on hand just to defend you and your family, because you never know who is coming down your road. This could be a person who basically just wanted to behead you for no reason at all. You do not have that today, right? She says, so basically your civilization today on a modern level is far less violent than many other civilizations of yours that have happened in the past. Do not feel that you are moving down a more violent pace, because you're not. These things are happening so that you can see through the example of what they are, so that you have the opportunity to change it. This is not deliberately happening through the nature of barbarism, but much more through the nature of ignorance. And do not see things in light and dark. That's only going to confuse you. That only propels you much more into confusion. We don't operate that way. This is what Athena is saying. We do not see the light and the dark, right? We see gradients. It's like what Brad says, gradients, right? And this is coming from Athena. Everybody, you need to pay more attention about what Brad and Adronis are telling you, because what they're telling you is the truth. If you keep looking at things in light and dark, you are never going to understand life. You're never going to understand that. It is not so much as the light and the dark, plain and simple. You have to look at the gradients. You have to see exactly what mixes together. You have to look at all of these things that, even though they seem harsh, they are teaching your civilization something. And how humanity works is that you go on the precipice of everything and then you jump back. And that's what you're learning. The slaughtering of animals is helping you, because it's helping you to see exactly how you can make a bigger change, so that does not continue to happen. The starvation of children is happening in the extreme, so that there are more of you who are able to bring it back to center. Wars on your planet are happening in the extreme, so that it helps many of you to bring it back into the center. That's why these extremes are happening. That's how the universe teaches you. It will teach you that if you keep going this way, you're going to keep going until you go off into the red. And once you're in the red, so many of you will be trying to pull yourselves back. You're going to have unity consciousness. And now that you pull yourself out of the red and come into the center, you will not have those problems again. You've learned from them as a culture. You've learned from them as a civilization. But that is how the universe teaches. You complaining about all of these things that are happening is only just part of you seeing what's on the precipice. You need to pull yourselves back, and more people will join you. Therefore, this is how humanity learns. This is how your people learn. Not a lot of civilizations learn the way that you do, but this is how humanity works. If you don't know this, you don't know your kind. If you don't know this, you don't know your people at all. Your people will experiment with things to go off into the red. Once it's off into the red and you're teetering at the precipice, you pull yourselves back together and you come back to the center. That's how humanity is. That's how your species is made. Your species is designed like that, right? And so she's she's being very emphatic about this as well too. So not all human species are like this, but humanity is. Humanity stands itself apart from many other human civilizations. We, as the Delphi, don't operate this way. We don't pull ourselves to the precipice and then jump back. You're the only species in the universe that does this, right? So this is what she's even saying. You're the only species that does this. You continue to dig and go deeper and deeper, and even if it's at such levels of despair, at the brink, you pull yourselves back collectively. right? Some of you may teeter off the edge individually, but you still learn from that situation because you have countless lifetimes, right? But again, that's how the collective of humanity works. It's like you just inflame yourself and you teeter right over the edge. You're just balancing on a wire, and now you're pulling yourself back together. And now that you've learned from that, you won't do that again. But that's how humanity is. That's how your people are designed, right? So when you're looking at war upon the planet, yes, that's how humanity is designed. When you're looking at poverty, when you're looking at children suffering, when you're looking at this sexual lust, when you're looking at these wars, when you're looking at starvation, when you're looking at all of these things, he said, yes, that is how humanity is designed. They will put everything to the extremes, and then they will set themselves back. They will always bounce back from the edge. It's how your people are, right? So that's what she's trying to explain. She says, if this was not how you people are, you would be divine living beings right now, learning your lesson very, very quickly. But you don't. You teeter yourself over the edge. This is why so many of you suffer. So many of you suffer because you got to go right to the brink. And then when you go right to the brink, you want help to come back to the center. I can vouch for that because I've worked with tens of thousands of you. And so many of you are on the brink, right? And then we're basically trying to help you to come back to center. That's how humankind is. That's how we're built. That's how we're designed. And that is what, and this is what Athena is saying, that is what makes a masterful race. That's what makes the human race so special, because no other civilization can do that. So Sharon, you have to be aware that even though you're troubled by these things, you have to understand that's how your people work. You may not agree with it, but it doesn't matter if you agree with it or not. That's how they work. They will take things to the extremes, and then there will be a point where you will come back to the center because you realize this doesn't work. This is not the way. Collectively, you understand it. Collectively, you've digested it. You won't do it again. That's how humanity learns. We're such a young species too, right? We don't even have that 2.5 to 3 million years of experience under our belt. Humanity hasn't even been here on this planet that long, maybe a couple 100,000 years, and that's about it, right? We're a very, very young species compared to many other civilizations. We look at Adronis's people are billions of years old, right? His civilization goes back billions of years. She's like, yes, Adronis is an ancient, yes. But even again, like I said, a lot of the inner Earth civilizations go back millions of years. They are like our elders, or like our older brother and older sister, right? And we're just the little kids trying to figure everything out, because this is it. We basically blew it with Atlantis, right? We blew it with Atlantis, and then, like I said, we can't keep giving human beings so much power so quickly. They will abuse it, and they were warned not to do this. And it was not the divine beings, as it were, that were giving humanity so much power so soon. It was very much the snake oil salesman in that way, right? They're kind of like the snake oil salesman of the stars, and they were giving a lot of the toys to humanity, and they were told, why are you doing this? Don't do that, right? They are not ready for this, and they're getting all these toys, and they're firing up all these things, and they became corrupted. And that was the problem, is that humanity was given too much power too soon. We saw that through Atlantis, right? And we knew what happened with Atlantis. And so again, a lot of these civilizations that are come and gone, they're basically working through their trials. They're working through their karmic transformation here. So like I said, Sharon, you had a really good question here. But as we say, is that that's how humanity is. Humanity needs to learn from the brink of heavy extremes to therefore set themselves right. It happens. And Athena, like I said, her people has observed humanity since the beginning that they've come here. And they basically started off very, very loving, and then they would be fed too much power. And then, of course, there was the Atlantean disaster, and then there were other civilizations that were coming from the Romans, from the Mayans, Sumerians, etc., ancient Egyptians. All of them basically, like I said, they all want power. This is kind of even what Athena is reminding me of, that they all want power. They all want power. They want to go back to where they were with Atlantis. Atlantis has basically been on the mind of every single civilization that has ever existed. They want to go back to that power dominion that Atlantis had. because Atlantis was basically controlling the entire world, right? And that's what they want. They want that again. They wanted that through the Sumerians. They wanted that through the Mesopotamians. They wanted that through the ancient Egyptians. They wanted that through the Roman Empire. They wanted that through the British Empire. They want that global dominion because you're looking at the shadows of Atlantis. When you're looking at all those civilizations that want that dominance, Atlantis, 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 right? These are the shadows of what we're trying to get over. That's the big hump that we're walking over, and therefore extremes will happen, but we are going to pull ourselves back. Okay, so it's a very good question. Thank you so much. Okay, so let's go further down. I'm just seeing if there's other donation-based questions. Okay, so Nina had one, but Nina, I'm not seeing your question here. Okay, so please just make sure if you guys are putting donations, please try to put your question in there with a donation. Okay. Okay. I'm just asking to seeing if there's any questions for Athena as well too. Okay. So anything in regards to Athena, maybe asking Athena a question. Okay. Okay, here's one from Nina. Dear Athena, could you please talk about the Earth climate for the next, say, 10 years? Should we expect some significant changes? She says, yeah, major changes. So basically, a lot of shaking up on the surface. There's going to be a lot of rainfall. There's going to be a lot of floods. There's going to be a lot of tornadoes. There's going to be a lot of hurricanes. But this is all part of sorting out the mess. She says a lot of this is humankind that is doing this. It is a war with weather. So they are going to be doing that. A lot of places that are warm may start to be cold. A lot of places that are cold may start to be warm. This is, again, interrupting the natural cycle of the Earth because humankind is playing out its affairs with technological warfare, working together with weather. Okay, so there's going to be a lot of different places that you swear you saw a different climate. Now, how it is that you may see tropical destinations getting hit with ice or snow or hail. You may again see a lot more tectonic activity around the planet, multitude of different earthquakes coming together. But there is a purpose to many of these earthquakes themselves. They are actually realigning the planet. Some are natural, some are artificial. The Earth is, in many different ways, creating some of these earthquakes deliberately. There are going to be storms. There is going to be floods. Are you also aware of the star families that are among your skies right now? And do you know why they're showing themselves? To prevent nuclear disaster worldwide. That is exactly why you have your drones. That is exactly why you see many vessels in the sky. They are trying to prevent a catastrophic world war from happening. There is an intention for many who want to detonate nuclear devices on many different population centers of the planet, and many of them are being shut down. So this is exactly why your star families and their ships are upon the sky right now. They will deactivate and they will disable any particular type of nuclear device that is looking to be launched. None of them will be able to be launched. And this is part of the new era because your family will be sticking around for a while. And it's going to create much more interest and intrigue as you have not seen anything yet. They are going to make themselves even more known as you start moving throughout the next couple of years. You are going to see humanity working together with the star families. It's already happening. But your star families are here and they are shutting down silos. They are powering down missiles. They are disabling nuclear devices. They're actually scooping out the radiation within these nuclear devices. These nuclear devices will be made impotent, infertile, as it were. They will lose anything pertaining to their warheads. So they're being completely and totally stripped. We would say by the end of this affair, you will not even have any active nuclear devices on your planet. They will be stripped clean, right? All nuclear devices are going to be shut down. All nuclear devices are going to be stripped. You will not have any active nuclear warheads on your planet at all. Okay? So that's basically what she's saying. So this is exactly why this administration is coming together right now. You could say, again, it's an interstellar administration. It's coming through right now. It's safeguarding your Earth, because what the ruling elites have wanted to do is realizing that their days are numbered, they are finished, and they want to basically try to destroy the entire world with nuclear devices. And they're trying very hard right now to basically um, launch these missiles to all forms of countries over the world. So they're basically going to their nuclear option right now, but every single one of them will be disabled. And again, militaries across the world are also helping out. The drones and the star family are working together. Okay. This again is an effort. The drones are basically surveying. They're actually looking for any particular form of underground bases, installations that are weaponized, that are causing these issues. So again, they're taking down a lot of culprits. They're taking down installations. They're taking down missile silos. They're taking down military operation installations that are trying to bring this about. It's all being torn down. Okay. So yes, there's going to be a lot of weather warfare over the next year or so. And yes, there is going to be continued deactivation of all missile silos on the planet. There is now a zero tolerance policy. If any of them show any nuclear warheads, they will be deactivated on sight, and they will not be able to launch them. This is their last ditch effort, is the nuclear option. And now they're not going to be able to do it. This is why New Jersey is filled with so many drones, right? There was a threat of nuclear war happening in New Jersey, happening in New York. They were basically going to look to detonate nuclear devices in New Jersey, in New York, probably in a few other states as well too. So they have hidden nuclear devices underground. And they're going to find these particular hidden silos and deactivate them. That's why the drones are flying around, trying to detect exactly where a lot of these silos are, because they're hidden, and then deactivate them. That's exactly what's happening right now. Okay. They were basically trying to create nuclear Armageddon. That's what they're trying to do right now. They will fail. They will try to bring out virus outbreaks. They will fail. They will try to lock down the planet again. They will fail. They will again try to do more weather warfare. They will fail. Okay. Because it's all going to be short term, right? Very, very brief. Okay. So Nina, thank you very much for your question. Let's go on here. Okay, this one here is from Enyalios. Greetings, my noble persons. Do they have any particular symbols or emblem which represents them? Which is her perspective about nymphs and funus, if they coexisted along with them? She says, no, they don't. But if you're looking for a symbol, we would ask you to see a crescent moon upon a blue background with a black halo, like a black halo line. So see a blue background with a crescent moon and a black ring around the logo there. Okay, so this can represent the idea of our connection to moon, because they actually do a lot of moon worship, right? The Delphi are about the moon. They do a lot of moon worshiping, right? So it's a crescent moon on a blue background with a black ring. Okay, so that's something you can look into altogether. Okay, thank you for your question. Let's move on. Okay. So just questions with Athena, guys. That's all I'm taking, okay? I'm just taking questions with Athena. I'm not taking any other type of questions, okay? Okay, this one here is from Justin. Justin says, is the king of Telos reachable through the channel, or can Athena expand on this mysterious ancient character that leads the Telosians in Earth liberation? She says, you're greatly mistaken. There is no king of Telos. It doesn't work that way. Telos is not a monarchy, okay? Telos is very much a contributive culture like us. The Telosians have been very much misunderstood, and it's been garbled going through many of your eyewitness accounts throughout the ages, believing that there is a Telosian king. In ancient times there were, but that is not how it exists anymore. There are no monarchies through any of the communities that we are talking to underground. Monarchies do not exist. You are looking at something very, very ancient, okay? There is no ancient king. You will not find any kings present day here underground with any civilizations that we are aware of. Okay, the only ones that would really hold on to any particular form of monarchies would be the regressives, and the regressives aren't here anymore. A lot of the regressives that basically wanted to make this world their own, they too have been purged from the earth, right? So a lot of these people that were here, a lot of these beings that were here, you could call them the Draco or certain forms of reptilians and insectoid races that basically wanted dominion, are not here anymore. They're gone. Okay, they were the only ones that had something close to a monarchy. They're not here anymore. All civilizations, she's saying, all civilizations that we are aware of do not have monarchies. Okay, it's all contributionism. It's all community based, right? We have our own appointed elects, and none of them are kingly or queenly or anything of that nature. You are looking at ancient history, and so much has changed since that time. Okay, so Justin, there you go. There's your question in regards to kings. Like I said, my friends, we can see a lot of these people who talk about these things. And like I said, it's not to say that there weren't kings in the old times, but it doesn't work that way. There's so much change happening in the inner earth. And I'm just giving you a perspective, right? You have to kind of look at this and do your own research, of course. But from what I'm getting, there's nothing in regards to monarchies that are happening underneath the earth right now. That is an old concept. Okay. Let's go to Ron. So guys, please, just questions for Athena. Okay. No questions for me today. No questions for. Okay. So, but we can look at R.E. Sis's situation here, or his question. Any hope for Romanian situation today? He says, of course, you're just going through the hard times. You're going through the shift. This is all part of you moving through the brink, right? We said, we ask you to listen to what we're sharing. Is that if you're seeing your country going into a downward spiral, please know that this is only temporary. Please know that this is just all part of your civilization because of how you're built, going into the extremes to therefore see exactly what's happening and resolve it, bringing themselves back into center. That's what's happening with many of your countries across the planet. Many of your countries are going into this extreme spiral. It's on purpose. That's supposed to happen because that's what's going to wake you all up. It is not a permanent thing. It's all there, and it basically continues to swell and inflame and get more intense and bloat so that more and more people wake up. And like we said, you are bringing yourselves back into the center from the precipice collectively. That's what's taking place. With Romania, there is going to be an overthrowing. With Romania, there is going to be an overhauling. With Romania, there is going to be a change in industries. With Romania, your entire money situation is going to change. With Romania, you are going to move into new leadership. Again, if your government is not about the people, not serving the people, fire them. Don't let them continue. Stand up and demand that this government be taken down, stripped, until it knows its proper place in serving the people. If it is not doing that, you are living under a dictatorship. Rip it apart, destroy it, and rebuild something new. The people will demand change when they come together. And if you're not, you continue to swell until you come together. When you come together, you come back to the center, and now you start asserting yourselves. You have to be in charge as a people. Stop thinking other people are doing this for you. It's not up to them. It's up to your people. It's up to you collectively to do this. You have to make your mark in the sand, right? You have to stand down and you have to put your foot on the sand and say, this is the new ground. This is where we're going moving forward, right? New people coming together. And until more and more people come together, this is going to continue to swell. It will continue to swell. It will continue to inflame. All of that is necessary because that's how human beings work. That's how you work. That's how you're designed. That's how you're built. You have to do it together, not the few, but the many. Okay, so it's kind of like Athena and I are both putting that case in there. So like I said, Romania, like many other countries, is going to shift itself around. It's going to turn itself around. 2025 represents a year of endings. Everything has to culminate right now. Keep your eyes peeled and see exactly what's happening in this time of culmination, because great changes are afoot for every single country on this planet that has gone under this particular type of umbrella of inflammation. Okay? Thank you so much for your question. Okay, let's go to Yogesh Ra here. Ra? Hello, Athena. What connections does your civilizations have with India? She says, we don't have any connections with India. We have worked together with the people that you would know as Greece, okay? But we have not worked with people of India. Unless there are people from India that are working with us. To our knowledge, we have not brought anyone from India into our domain, okay? She says, we don't work that way. She says, we're meeting with many civilizations internally, right? And many of them do have Indian ethnicity appearance in that way, but they're not from India, okay? So they may have connections with India, but no. So the Delphi personally do not have connections with India. They basically, the closest civilization until now, of course, they're talking to me and me talking to you guys. But before that time, it was really the Greeks. The Greeks were the ones that they were talking to. They've also had connections with Egypt as well, too. They've had connections with both Egyptians and the Greeks, okay? They have not had connections with India, okay? She says that's another people are. She says you would want to look to the Nagas for that, okay? So Yogesh, that's what Athena is saying. She says, go talk to the Nagas. The Nagas are very much part of your ancient people, right? You look at the serpent people, the Nagas. Those are the inner earth beings that are very connected with India. Those are the people you want to talk to. It's not us, okay? Thank you, Yogesh, for your question. Okay. Okay. So Justin also says, very few channels have expanded on the bioweapon timelines being halted by Argarthan interventions. It's not Argarthan intervention. That's not what's happening here, okay? This is misinformation, my friend, okay? You're basically getting a lot of misinformation here. It has nothing to do with Argarthan issues. No, this is not Argarthan intervention. That's not what's happening, right? Everything that's happening right now has been started by humans, and then it reciprocally ripples, right? Much of what is in charge pertaining to your surface are star family, okay? Your family basically leads the charge in regards to watching over you. We do have some of that particular responsibility as well, but nowhere near in the means in regards to what your star family is going under. This has nothing at all to do with Argothan interventions. That's made up, right? This has nothing to do with that. Okay, this is why I say you guys got to be very discerning with a lot of these channelers online, right? And I'm not trying to come down on anybody because I'm sure they're very sweet people. But in regards to them actually training themselves and disciplining themselves and actually being proper channels, 95% of them don't know what they're doing, right? When I was going into channeling, I was looking into a lot of the ancient ways of this. I was looking not only at Jane Roberts or looking at Carla Rueckert from the Law of One, because those two basically stood the test of time with their work. And those are, I would say, the only two really good channels on the planet are Jane Roberts and were Carla Rueckert. Okay. And I would go back and I would look at a lot of these other ways of how mediumship and channeling would come together, right? And I would discipline myself. I would always look for where there's ego coming out of these transmissions and work to clear it. Okay. Unfortunately, a lot of channelers don't do that, and I've met plenty of them over the years. And when they're talking to me, when they're communicating, I'm like, yeah, I'm still seeing a lot of them. I'm still seeing a lot of that ego coming in that channel. You got to be careful with a lot of these channelers because 95% of them are not accurate at all, right? There's a couple, like I said, Carla Rueckert and Jane Roberts would be the two that I would say were the most accurate of modern day channels. Okay, of course you have Edgar Casey, but I wouldn't really call him as a channel. He would be much more of a prophet in that way because he did not speak through an entity, right? So again, got to be careful with this because everybody nowadays claims they're a channel. And I've had all kinds of people share me their stuff like, guys, no offense, but this is a bunch of garbage, right? And I'm just looking at that because I have the natural ability to go into the Akashic and look into these things. And I'm not saying I'm all perfect and all that stuff. There's times where I make mistakes as well too. And like I said, I'm not saying that I'm the ultimate source here and you need to pay attention to me. No, not at all. You guys can throw away all my stuff as well too. But I would say just be very, very careful. The truth lies within you, right? Truth is subjective. It's not objective. You got to look into yourself and see these things. Because again, people will give you these fantastical stories thinking, okay, there's Argothan interventions. There's no such thing as Argothan interventions, right? There's Argotha, but Argotha is also not what you think it is. Agartha basically represents the name of the soul of the earth, okay? So Argotha would represent the soul, the soulfulness of the earth. It represents much more of an expression than the nature of a kingdom. It would be closest to look at the idea where Jesus would say the kingdom of God. Well, here's the kingdom of Argotha, the kingdom of the soul of the earth. That's all Argotha is. Okay, it's the kingdom of God. It's the kingdom of Argotha. It's the kingdom of the soul of the earth. That's Argotha. How many of us knew that? Right? This is the thing. Not a lot of people are telling you guys what's actually true. And like I said, you got to look inside yourself. If Brad's saying, okay, Brad says that Argotha is the name of the soul of the earth. If I go into there and I find it within myself, go through your own truth records, discover it. Okay. That's what you got to do. We have to be discerning on this planet. Too many of us, too little of us are discerning people. We got to develop that. It's so important. That's how we prevent ourselves from getting used by people, right? Okay, let's go down here a little bit more. Okay. All right, here's one here from Rumble. This is from Lena1. Lena says, Athena, what are the major gains for humanity in 2025? She says, you're living through it right now. She says, these gains are going to appear as burdens, right? That's one of the things that she says. Your gains are going to appear as burdens to you. What you think is growth is actually stagnation, and what you think is stagnation is actually growth. We could tell you quite a few things that are happening upon your planet as you move ahead, but you're not going to think it's a good thing. You think it's going to be horrible because there's going to be more oppression. There's going to be more fighting. There's going to be more violence on your planet. You don't think that's a good thing. We're saying it's a very good thing because now you're seeing exactly the mark of the beast. You're seeing the face of the beast showing itself. And now you're on the precipice and you're bouncing yourselves back, right? Okay, Athena wants me to say this. She says, listen to what Brad is telling you. You have to get out of this black and white. You got to get out of this gradient, right? She says, you know, we're saying this to Brad. We know he doesn't want to try and share it, but he says you need to listen to him because he's telling you the truth. It's important that you look at this truth right now, yes, but you're constantly bouncing back and forth through polarities. You're looking here and you're looking here, and this is bad, and this is good, and this is evil, and this is right, and this is righteousness, and this is evil, and this is horribleness. And it doesn't work that way. It's all a gradient. You have to look at the gradients. What you think is growth is stagnancy, and what you think is stagnancy is growth. That's how you have to look at these things. When you see these horrible situations, and we're not saying they're not horrible, but you're looking at these situations because that's how your species is built. She's like really emphatic with that. Your species is built this way. That's how you learn. And unfortunately, of course, it does cost lives, but that's how your species is built. They're not going to get a clue otherwise. You cannot sit down with your species in a room and try to logically express how you need to change. You won't listen. You won't listen. You will go about your ways and you will continue to do them. Do you think that we have not considered this idea? Do you think that many civilizations that came before you did not consider this idea? Humans cannot learn that way. They have to learn through experience. And as they learn through experience and they go through the threshold and they come into the precipice, they bounce back because they realize through the extremes that they have gone through the suffering that they have wrought, they are now coming back into the center. That is how humankind learns. It can't learn any other way. So many of your people have tried to talk with your own people, going back decades and centuries, trying to do it the way that you think it needs to be done. And they've all died because humanity doesn't work that way. You don't know how your humanity, how your civilization works. You have no idea of how your people work. We do, because our civilization has watched your civilization grow from the very beginning. And you started off with a golden age, and then you went back into a dark age. And then twilight age, which is happening right now. Which means you're leaving the darkness and you're coming much more rather into the early dawn. The early dawn. And that's what's happening. You're about to see the sun start to creep up past the mountains. And that's where you're going as a civilization. This is why Athena is saying that this is why your civilization, as it exists today, is the least violent of all of the other previous ages. This is the least violent civilization. Can you imagine living with all those other civilizations in the past where there was constant murder, where there was constant rape, people being beheaded, people being robbed, being killed, right? It was barbaric. And we're looking at today, and of course we have a lot of things to iron out, but she says it's a lot more better to live here today in the modern world than if you were to live in the previous ages. You would be fending for your life everywhere. You would need to carry a sword with you. You would need to carry a dagger with you, because people in that sense are just seeing you as a victim, and you have to learn to fight. We would talk to many warriors. We would talk to many women who as well too felt that they were helpless to defend themselves. They would basically have their babies snatched from them and killed right in front of them. These are the things that, again, represent your previous ages. Your civilization has, in many ways, matured from where the modern civilization stands today, if you're looking at these previous ages, because many of these previous ages were barbaric. Lesser population, but if you look at the percentages in regards to that lesser population, there was more warlike people, there was more fighting, there was more death on the planet at that time than today. You had famines, you had diseases, you had wars breaking out across the lands. You've had hundreds of thousands, millions of people die over religious wars that were far more in a calamity than what was happening today. Today is nothing compared to what happened back then. So this is showing you humanity is growing, but we're going into these precipices to bring ourselves back. Okay, and I can't explain it. I don't think Athena can explain it any more than what we already have. Okay, you need to reflect on this and you need to look. Don't just dismiss it outright. Process it. Listen to what we're saying and see what this does to you. Okay, so we're concerned. Like I said, guys, I'm not saying I have all the answers. Athena is like praising me to the mountain here, but I'm just saying, you know what, guys, I don't have all the truth. Right? If I did, things might be different, but like I said, truth is subjective. Truth is within yourself. Okay, it's most important. You have to discover that truth yourself, not through what I say, but what you have reached through your own truth. So important. Okay. Okay. So here's one from King Panda 44. How are we on time here? Okay, I think we're going to take one or two more questions, everybody. We're going to wrap up. Athena, does your civilization have a monetary system like we do on the surface, or do you simply work together in spirit of cooperation? She is laughing. She's laughing, not at your question, but with your question. And she's basically saying, my dear, my people have never used money. Okay. She says, that's a human invention. You're the only species in the universe that uses money. No other civilization that we know has ever used money. Ever. Humankind is the first. There are others that will do certain forms of exchange programs, but those exchanges are different very much from what you've conceived. He says no civilization inside the earth or in the ancient past before humanity came upon this planet has ever used money. Monetary is all based upon monarchies, different kind of monarchies, enslavement monarchies. There is a higher monarchy that does exist that is not about that. It's a monarchy, but at the same time, it's a servant, right? You still don't understand what a true monarchy is from what she's saying. She says, we have never touched money. We don't need it. Why would we need it? It's an illusion. It's one of the biggest illusions that have ever been created, right? It's just all part of you. It's training wheels. It's training wheels to help you understand the nature of value, helping you to understand the nature of your exchange. How you exchange energy is coming through the physical manifestation of money, and that's fine, but her people have never used money, right? Never. Like in the 2.5 million to 3 million years that they've been here, they have never touched it once, right? It's not that. That's for your people. Your people use that. And she said, we're not belittling money in that way, but it is an illusion. But again, we're still seeing how you're advancing yourselves based upon that. And so again, money in that sense is going to phase out. It doesn't stand the test of time. It's taken many forms throughout the roots of your history, and it's not going to last. It is going to fade away. And you will not have money in the future. You will have cooperation. You will have contribution. You will have mutual exchange, because you will have learned past the crutch of money. Money is just a crutch. It's just a manifestation, a crutch to helping you with training wheels to understand the nature of your value. And that's why you humans use it. But nobody else we know has ever used money, ever. Right? So there you go. We are the only species in the entire universe who's ever used money. No one else ever uses it. Okay, let's see if we can get to one more question here. Then we're going to wrap up. I'm going to try and go down to the bottom of the chat. Okay. Yeah, Star Trek was based on something. You're right about that. Let's see here. I'm just kind of going up to see if there's any last questions. Okay. Okay. Okay, let me see here. I'm just looking to see if there's one last question here. I think Grow P had one question here. Let me just see if I can go back up here. I'm just looking for one last question to wrap up here. Okay. We got a lot of people on the chat here today, which is great. I'm just kind of scrolling and seeing if there's one last good question for Athena that we can end with. Okay. Okay, here's one here from Dorothea Fisher. The Tibetans speak of 12 kingdoms in the inner world. Are you living in one of those kingdoms? She says that's not pointing towards us. You are looking at much more of the kingdoms that exist within your soul. That is an alchemy. That is an inner alchemy. That is relating much more to your growth as yourself. The 12 kingdoms of the inner world represent your 12 bodily systems. This is referring to your anatomy and harmonizing your anatomy through the power of your consciousness. This is not to be taken literally. Eastern symbolism and Eastern mysticism is always based upon symbolic context. And this is coming from Athena. She says, please do not take your ancient scribes seriously or literally. These are alchemical formulas to helping you through certain forms of practices, helping you to elevate your conscious, working with your body to become much more aligned in the controlling of your mind. This is not speaking about the inner earth civilizations at all. This is about yourself. This is an alchemy. This is an alchemical process for yourself to help yourself connect much more to God. The 12 kingdoms are the 12 bodily systems of your body. And working together with the nature of brain activation, going into the right hemisphere of the brain, lifting up the kundalini, moving yourself much more into right brain activity. That is what's being talked about by the Tibetans. It has nothing to do with your outside world. This is why it says it's an inner world. This is your inner world. This is your outer world. It does not say 12 kingdoms of the outer world. It says the 12 kingdoms of the inner world. Your 12 bodily systems, harmonizing them. It's like the 144,000, as I talk about in the Bible as well, too, which equal out to 9, which is also indicating the harmonizing of your body. The harmonizing of your body through the disciplinary actions of clearing out all the facets of the ego so that you go to God. Okay? This is inner alchemy formulas. Do not take them literally. Every ancient book is meant for that nature of inner alchemy, inner transmutation. Okay? This is even what Athena is saying. You have been duped. Many of you have been duped of thinking that your Bible is literal when it's not, or that your Quran is literal when it's not, or the Torah is literal when it's not, or any other holy book that you have. None of them are to be taken literally. These are documents for transmutation of the soul. Okay? Please make sure that you're remembering it in that context, because I've said the same thing. So, Athena, I want to thank you so much for being here with us today. We love you. We thank you so much for, again, I know it's been quite a few years, but we won't wait that long for the next conversation. Thank you so much, Athena. She's just saying you're blessed. Thank you so much. Okay. Very good, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey today. I had a wonderful experience with Athena. I hope you did too. And like I said, next week, and we're going to do some personal readings over Wisdom Transmissions Live next week, next Wednesday at 10 a.m. Pacific Time, 1 p.m. Eastern. Thank you for joining me today. Happy New Year to all of you. Let's make 2025 brilliant. Okay, it is the year of culmination. It is the year of endings. A lot of things are going to happen this year, but as I've said, this is the last year that the corrupt remain alive. After this, they're going, right? They're going to lose all of their power. And we're going to see that this year. Blessings to you all. Namaskar. Take care. Blessings and be well. Bye for now.